Hello, welcome in. This is a continuation of a small series going over the early game of Fire Emblem Fates Conquest, and showing the most reliable way we can clear the maps and ensure your playthrough gets off to a very solid start. This time, we have the first Paralogue, and here I'm going to show you an easy method for training up Mozu. So stick around to learn how the best trainee in the series goes from 0 to hero in one single map. Let's jump in. And as usual, don't mind the fox, he just likes to watch. So the first thing you want to make sure you do is grab a heart seal and a bronze bow. We're doing this right after Chapter 9, which the boss of Chapter 9 gave us a free heart seal. The reason you do Mozu's Paralogue a little later than it first appears is because there's really no reason to bring her to Chapter 8 or 9. There's other characters you want to train in those chapters, and it doesn't really slow Mozu down at all when you recruit her and use this chapter properly. A small note is that if you have Wyvern Elise reclassed and set up, you can get to Mozu a bit easier and even get more experience that way. But we're going for the most widely applicable strategies in this guide. So I'm going to show an alternate method to get to Mozu quickly, even if it's not as quickly. Some other things we're going to be using this chapter for is to build some supports. You want to get support points whenever possible in this game because support routing is not exactly easy a lot of the times. So just to showcase, we're going to get support points with Odin and Elise, Effie and Arthur, and Effie and Mozu. A little detail to keep in mind is when you're trying to build supports with two different people for one person, like Arthur and Effie and then Effie and Mozu in the same map, you can't give them both the same amount of points. Support points cap at 3, and you get 2/3 of a support point every time two characters do a combat together. I don't know why it's such a weird, division of a point, but that's just how it is. Make sure to drop Corin off right on this space, by the way. But yeah. If there's two characters that one person got supports with, then whoever they did the most combats with will get the cap of 3 points, and second place will only get 2 points. I know it sounds pretty complicated, but it's not that bad. But basically, we're gonna just do some combats with Effie and Arthur so they can get a little bit of progress, and then we're gonna do a lot of combat with Effie and Mozu later on so they can make sure to reach C rank, which is exactly 3 full points. One of the many perks of Mozu is she legitimately makes Effie a better unit because it gives her Archer and Kinshi Knight access, which is just a great class for Effie over Knight, since Effie is just such a cannon in terms of her strength and speed the moment she gets out of the Knight class. There was so much conversation about Mozu years and years ago, closer to when this game came out. A lot of people really hated her, calling her one of the worst units in the series. But the thing about Mozu is she's a rare case where she has so much going for her that her low bases kinda doesn't even matter. Most people have come around on her these days, which is really funny to me because I remember defending her back in the day on internet discussions. It's vindicating to know I was right all along. More on that in a bit. So here's the trick where we can get over to Mozu without having to kill all the faceless on the right side. We dropped Corin onto the river, and now we're pairing up so we can walk over the river. Just gonna speed this up slightly. And now we've grabbed Mozu.
Are you okay?
Mozu has ridiculously high growths,
So sorry.
especially in her offenses. But that's actually not even the reason that she is so good, which is kind of funny. It's more of a bonus than anything. Archers are at a hell of a premium in Conquest, and they are really strong. It's basically only her and whoever she friendships, which her options for that are Nyx and Effie. If you're used to older Fire Emblems, you're probably surprised to hear just how good the Archer class is, but it's really hard to overstate just how amazing it is in this game. To go over some quick reasons as to why archers are so good in this game, bows are really high might, and the skills the class gives are really strong. Like Quick Draw, which gives you +4 attack on player phase, and Certain Blow, which is +40 hit, which is insane. And they also have access to Flight after promotion with the Kenshi Knight class. In general, Archer just has so much going for it. Especially since Conquest really lends itself to player phase combat more than older games do. Mostly due to how dual strikes and everything work. And another huge boon of Mozu is just her high skill growth and incredibly high accuracy with bows. It makes her a very valuable and consistent party member, having some of the highest hit rates in the game, and being able to hit even the dodgiest of enemies most of the time. Especially if you get her later skills to get even more hit rate on top of it. It can just make her such a valuable party member with how consistent she is. So moving on, what we need to do here is weaken the Faceless and then have Mozu attack it while standing next to somebody, so they can kill the creature for her. She still gets full experience when you do this, which is really nice. Also a note that you can do this when she's a villager, but there's quite a few downsides. She might miss the 90% hit rates that she has as a villager, and if that happens, she's probably gonna die. And you're also missing out on training her bow rank. Even the level 10 skill you get as a villager is just completely useless, because 90% of the time, your player units will be higher level than the enemy units. So most of the time this skill just doesn't do anything. So there's just no reason to train her as a villager unless you're doing like a strange challenge run where you use her like that. Just bring her a heart seal. Since we did pair-up shenanigans to get across the river, these Faceless on the right side are ready and waiting to be Mozu fodder. Another good use of this Paralogue is getting Azura a few levels, because the sooner Azura reaches level 10, the better. So just make sure you're dancing every turn. You can even dance for Mozu so she gets experience even faster. And naturally, if you want to, you can just stop progressing and dance and end turn repeatedly until she gets all the levels you want. But who would do something like that? And this is how you do it. Weaken with someone else first, and then attack and attack stance with Mozu. It's not even difficult, and doesn't necessarily take very long. As opposed to a normal clear, you are going a little bit slower, but not as much as you would think. Training Mozu like this probably just costs you about 10 turns or so. And no one else gets as much experience as she does from these things, due to how the Fates EXP curve works. Essentially what that means is if you're lower level than the enemy, you get way more experience, while being higher than the enemy, you get way less. It honestly makes characters incredibly easy to catch up and train in this game.
We won't lose.
There's also a secret about all of this that I'm gonna hold off till the end of the video to say. Felicia or Jacob can also be useful, since they debuff. That'll make Mozu do even more damage to secure kills. Felicia actually a bit more useful than Jacob, since Jacob will probably just kill the thing.
Be careful! Let's do this!
I won't let you down.
Not paying attention?
Getting those support points with Mozu and Effie here, and I'm gonna get even more in just a little while. But yeah, I think I've shown off the method enough.
Well,
And with that, now that you hopefully understand the process, you know what it's time for? A training montage. I hope that was entertaining. And with that, we kill the boss, and we got Mozu all the way to level 7. I was maybe a bit egregious about it. You don't need to get her this many levels if you don't want to. I don't know why you wouldn't want to, but some people like to just go faster. That's fine. But, you know, a secret about all this, none of this is actually required for Mozu to be useful. If playing like this and feeding one character just completely burns your brisket, forge Mozu a +1 bronze bow from the smithy, and she will one-shot every flyer in Chapter 10, and you can just train her that way instead. Little fun fact for you. Just the fact that the Fates trainee character can one-shot people on Lunatic and genuinely be part of an optimal team comp really makes Mozu one of, if not the best trainees in the series. I love her so much. Also, we got the Effie support, as well as some others. Hope this was helpful. If you have any feedback, let me know in the comments, and I hope you have a fabulous day.